Just the other day, the President of the United States of America made his first European trip. He and his wife, Michelle Obama, were recipients of royal treatment afforded those of their stature. When meeting the Queen of England and later the President of France, they received treatment given to heads of states, dignitaries, great men and women of the earth. Jesus was no stranger to royal treatment, because when he arrived in Bethany 6 days before the Passover, he spends time with family and friends. Really, his friends, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. While here in Bethany, Mary anointed the feet of Jesus. She used costly perfume as an act of humility pointing to his death. It's something how when you humble yourself, you can really be blessed. It is on the first day of the week that Jesus rides into Jerusalem. He rides in on an unbroken donkey, never employed for any other use, therefore making it suitable for sacred usage. It had already been prophesied by the prophet Zechariah some 400 years before its fulfillment, that Israel's king, Israel's Messiah, would come riding upon a donkey's coat. Zechariah said, "Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion, and shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation." This signifies to you and I that God's ways are much different than our ways, because men looked for a conquering king. Men look for somebody coming that's high and exalted and lifted up in themselves. Men look for somebody who would come arrayed in royal pageantry with an army of mighty men. But when they saw Jesus, they didn't see a man full of pomp and splendor. They saw one who was meek, one who was lowly. They saw a lowly rabbi riding upon a donkey's coat and attended by a crowd of rejoicing peasants. They may not have had all the sense that they should have had, but they recognized that something was going on that had never gone on before. I wonder, do you recognize when something is going on? Oh Lord, it says to you and I that we should never judge a book by its cover. God can use anybody. He could have easily sent the help from a source that you could have thought that it should have automatically come from. He could have easily sent the help you've been pleading for, but it might not be wrapped in Sunday best. Oh, you don't hear me. But when you need help, it doesn't matter if it's in the Sunday best or not. I've said before, if I'm swimming and I'm drowning, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what kind of clothes you have on. Just send somebody who can swim. And when I need some help, I don't care if you got a crown on your head. I don't care if you come in pomp and splendor with an army behind you or you come by yourself. All I'm looking for is some help. He wasn't wrapped in his Sunday best. But if you are spiritual, something on the inside will let you know that God has heard your cry. If you are spiritual, something will let you know that help is on the way. If you are spiritual, something will let you know that your deliverance has finally come. And so the people expected their deliverer to be a mover and a shaker, one who could stir things politically. But he didn't come as a political Messiah. He came as a spiritual deliverer. And that's why some folks mess up. They attempt to be political when they ought to be spiritual. Oh God. His entry into Jerusalem on a donkey publicly testified that he is Israel's predicted king. He did not come under the cover of night to escape the crowd. He did not come into Jerusalem secretly or incognito. By the way, we got too many secret saints today. We got people who want to be incognito. But if you really love the Lord, you got to show some signs. You can't be a secret saint. Why don't you tell your neighbor, if you're really going to be a saint, it shouldn't be a secret. If you're going to be a saint, somebody else ought to know that you love the Lord. Don't love him in church, but then don't love him at home. Don't love him at church and then can't love him on your job. Don't love him at church and then can't love him in the community. If you love him at church, church ought to give you the fuel. Church ought to give you the inspiration. Church ought to give you the drive that you can take the Lord along with you everywhere you go. I'm going to be finished in a few moments. He came in a way that you could see Jesus for yourself. What a tragedy it would be if Jesus never showed up at our services. Oh, what a devastation it would be if Jesus showed up and nobody was here. But he showed up so the crowd could be blessed at his coming. I'm so glad he showed up. The crowd that awaited Jesus did what we call today as rolling out the red carpet. And when a king, when a dignitary, when a person of prominence would come, they would automatically roll out a red carpet. They would roll out some type of carpet to demonstrate this is not the normal individual, but this is a person of notoriety. And when Jesus came into the streets of Jerusalem, they began to cut down the palm branches. That's why you see these palm branches arrayed over the altar today. It's not for decoration, but it's to let you know that we are symbolically remembering when Jesus came into the coast of Jerusalem, that he is so important that we stop whatever we're doing and we cut down the palm trees to lay them out, so that when he comes in, we say, Lord, you are welcome in this place. And the palms say to the church, Lord, you are welcome in this place. But you ought to say in your heart, Lord, you are welcome in this place. They rolled out the red carpet and spread them on the road, symbolizing Jewish nationalism, believing that the Messiah would restore Israel to power. But when Jesus came, he did not come making a lot of noise, for he knew who he was. A whole lot of folks make a whole lot of noise trying to get attention. But when Jesus rode into Jerusalem, he didn't make a whole lot of noise.